Hello, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Scott Sports 101. I'm Scott Trella. Uh, uh, we'll talk Tribe and Major League Baseball. We'll do Browns and NFL football, and we'll talk a little college of Ohio State if we have time. But first, here is today's Scott Sports 101 trivia question. Which player holds the record for most RBIs in a single game? I'll have the answer later in the broadcast. The Tribe's four-game win streak was snapped as they lost to the Baltimore Orioles 4-2 last night at Progressive Field. Adam Plutko was on the mound for the good guys last night. Plutko went 7 innings, giving up 3 hits and 3 earned runs and striking out 6 batters. Then the bullpen took over, and they were not able to hold off the Orioles, and the Tribe scored their only 2 runs in the 6th. The Tribe will regroup and try to take Game 2 of this 3-game series against the Orioles today at Progressive Field. Mike Clevenger on the mound for the good guys today with a record of 8-7, and Yafe Ramirez on the mound for the Orioles with a record of 1-4. First pitch today at 1:10. Well, the Browns lost to the Buffalo Bills in preseason Game 2, 19-17 Friday night at First Energy Stadium. The Browns' defense was so dominating in the early going of the first quarter. The Browns jumped out to the early 7-0 lead thanks to Carlos Hyde's TD pass from Tyrod Taylor. But the Bills answered back with a touchdown and tied the game at 7. The Browns, on their first possession, had turned over the ball, and the Bills got in scoring range, but kicked a field goal instead, and were up 10-7. And we're up 10-7 because they answered back and tied the game at 7 at halftime. Taylor was 4 for 7 with 22 yards, and Baker Mayfield played 2 quarters and went 7 for 13 with 75 yards. And Drew Stanton came on near the end of the third quarter and played in the fourth quarter and went 0 for 4 and did not have a TD pass. The Browns were down 13-10 at the end of the third, and they would score one more TD thanks to Nick Chubb's pass from Mayfield, but that was not enough as the Bills went on to win this one. The Browns will take on the defending Super Bowl champions, the Philadelphia Eagles, next Thursday at home at First Energy Stadium. Kickoff is at 8 p.m., and you can catch all the action on Fox. And I felt that the defense struggled. They were dominant dominant in the early going of the first quarter, but then they struggled and just could not get it together. And the offense struggled as well, but they did look good. I mean, they look good in some areas, and I do feel that they did not. They just were not. They just didn't have it in them last night to win this one, and and there was a touchdown was called back, but then they got it the second time around, and that's when they went up 17-13 before Buffalo had answered with a 6-point TD and went up 19-17. I feel that this next game, I think this one is going to be a big one. It's going to be a test, and this game could come down to the wire, and I do feel that the Browns are going to really have to get it together for this one. And they've got a lot of practice to go at training camp. They did not practice, I don't think, today, but they will practice tomorrow. Maybe they did practice today. I can't remember. Check me if I'm wrong. But I think they will practice tomorrow. And they really need to come out and really dominate from the get-go. And as I said before, they are testing these guys. This is dress rehearsal. This will determine who makes the 53-man roster and who gets cut. And I do feel that Nick Chubb really looked good and in the game last night, and so did Carlos Hyde. And I feel this is really going to say who does make the cut and who doesn't. But this is going to say it all, and I feel that this next Browns game could come down to the wire between the Browns and the Eagles, because keep in mind, the Eagles are the defending Super Bowl champions. And I do feel that the Browns are up and coming, and the regular season begins in just a few weeks from right now on Sunday, September 9th, when the Browns will take on the Pittsburgh Steelers in Heinz Field in their season opener. And I do feel that the Browns need to win the season opener and end their skid of opening day losses. And I also need to win the home opener the following Sunday. So, and I really hope that they can end their skid of opening day losses. So, we shall see if they can do it. And I really do feel that this preseason is really going to say it all. Because they're working very hard in training camp. They're making a lot of good plays. And they're really going for it. And they're trying to have good days and stack them on top of each other. And I really feel that the Browns need to really get it together for when they play the Eagles in next Thursday's game next Thursday's preseason game at home at First Energy Stadium. So I do feel, and Hugh Jackson has liked what he has saw, and I think there were a few bad calls in this game last night. The refs need to open their eyes, and they need to make sure that it is the right call. Now, with the one touchdown that was called back, I felt that was the right call, even though I felt at first that it was a bad call, to say the least. But I understood why that they made it a good call. So keep that in mind, and also, and that's why, because they did not, he had gotten out of bounds before his foot hit the touchdown, the end zone. So keep that in mind. So I do feel that was a good call, and they got it the second time around. So all's well that ends well. Excuse me. And I really, Baker Mayfield, they're still developing him, and they're not going to start him in the regular season. But Taylor looked good. I mean, he went for 4. He did not have he did have one. I think he had one carry, but no TD passes. But I mean, he is going to be the quarterback for the upcoming season. Excuse me. And now, if they don't think he's a starter, maybe they should start Mayfield. But I feel they need to still develop him. And I know he may not get some starts early on season, but I think late in the season, I think he will. He needs to learn from Tyrod Taylor, the veteran quarterback, and the other quarterbacks, and the quarterback coach, and Hugh Jackson. So, and keep in mind, these preseason games don't mean anything. They're just dress rehearsal. So I feel that this preseason and training camp is really going to say it all. So I feel that this really will say it all. And I feel that the Browns really need to, at this point now, with preseason game number 3, they really need to really come out and show what they can do and show that these players want to be on the team for the regular season. They really need to do that. So I feel that that's what they need to do for the next game in Game 3 on this next Thursday. Well, we'll get back to talking game for Browns and preseason football and training camp and talking Tribe in a minute. But it's now time for the answer to today's Scott Sports 101 trivia question. Which player holds the record for most RBIs in a single game? If you said Jim Bottomley, you are correct. On a mid-September afternoon in Brooklyn in 1924, Cardinals third-year first baseman Sonny Jim Bottomley came to the bat 6 times and delivered 6 hits, including 2 home runs, a double, and 3 singles off the Robins pitchers. Bottomley drove in 12 runs that day and set a major league record that still stands shared with the Cardinals' Mark Winton in 1993. And I'll have another trivia question on my next broadcast. Now, I feel that even though the Tribe's 4-game win streak got snapped, they are going to bounce back from this, and I think they'll take today's game. And believe me, they are a playoff contender. They're going to the playoffs no matter what. And I think with Bauer being out 4 to 6 weeks, that's a good move because I think give him that time to rehabilitate himself and get back to his old self. And I think he will be good to go for the postseason. I really think he will. And I do believe that he will. So, and they really need to they need to get the bats going, and the Tribe needs to have solid pitching. You got to realize that as well. So keep that in mind. And now, getting back to the Browns and preseason football and training camp, I feel that the defense needs to really step it up because they struggled. They were dominant in the early going, but then they fell apart the last 3 quarters. And they just did not do their thing. And the offense needs to pick up their pace. And also the running backs, they looked a lot better, but they still need to step it up and really dominate. They need to really gel, and they need to really score for these guys and not give the opposing quarterback so much room. And I really think that that's what they need to do. And they need to come out and dominate and score from the get-go and not let up in this game against the Eagles, because I feel this is going to come down to the wire. Well, we're almost out of time, and before I sign off, I just want to say that this Browns game, it wasn't a bad game. It was a pretty good game, and even though we lost by 2, we did have some chances to win, but we're not able to get the win. But I still feel that we need to really step it up and pick up the pace when we play the Eagles this coming Thursday. And I really feel that they're going to do just that. And head coach Hugh Jackson, he knows what he wants to see from the Browns, and he knows what the Browns need to do at training camp and at practice, and so do the Browns quarterbacks and the entire team as well. So, and they know what they need to work on, and I think they're going to do just that. And they're really trying to go for it, and they're making big plays at training camp, and they're making hits, but they really need to really step it up at practice as well, and really get things going for the upcoming game this Thursday. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of Scott Sports 101. Always remember, be a team player each and every day in every way possible. So long, everybody. 3, 2, 1, I'm done.